Hey guys, this is Farrell. I'm here with a bit of a combo idea, and you just saw it actually fire off in action here, sending something up. The idea behind this design is I hate having to constantly run up and down ladders to bring stuff all the way up from down or underground. Just all that stuff, you go diamond mining, you go branch mining, you get tons of cobble and whatnot, and you could just let it lie around, but who wants to do that? I've wasted all that durability, might as well get something out of it. Let's send all the cobble up to the surface, we'll sort it out up there, move along. Well, item elevators in Minecraft are a little on the wonky side because they're either not very fast, you're limited to designs that can send one thing up per tick, or you're limited to what you can actually pull off, whether it's the glass elevators or whatnot. The timing gets to be a problem. 9 screwed everything up. This is the closest thing you can kind of get that I've seen so far that's really reliable enough. But the problem is you're still transporting one item at a time. Well, enter the Shulkers, where you're actually able to have entire inventories worth of stuff. So what I've got down here is, this would normally be like a double chest that you would come over, dump your mining, all the stuff that you dig up into the chest. I'm going to send it into the Shulker here, and this Shulker box, you can see I've got it staged with a piston and a hopper right to the side of it. I could put it under if I wanted to, but I felt it was a little easier to get a little distance between what I have built here. I've got a comparator coming out of the side, and what this is going to do is it's going to give the redstone here just enough. By the time it gets over to this piece here, there's just enough signal left to actually fire off a couple more things. So first off, we fire off a piston. That's going to knock the Shulker loose and push it into this block. That piston is going to pick it up. It's going to go in a bog standard item elevator here. There's plenty of tutorials that you can find on the internet about this. Pop it all the way up to the top here, where it's going to wind up in a dispenser at the top, fully loaded as you see. And then the intent is to trigger the dispenser, which will deploy the Shulker to here, as you can see. It's not exactly perfect, but this one is actually draining right now still. Quite a lot to drain out of it. Actually, that's a new one, so somehow this fired off and I didn't even realize it did. Awesome, actually. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize I had that. So, we've got the Shulker that gets deployed here. It's going to drain up because there is a hopper right underneath this. They do work with hoppers and everything, as you can see. Everything that's in this chest has come through a Shulker that's gone through this system. Now, the intent is, once this is empty, we do kind of the reverse of what we have down there. So what you'll see is, back in here, I have a comparator hidden, and underneath that comparator, you can't see it, is another hopper. And that hopper is right there, just above this green block here. That one feeds into the line that drops it back down into the dispenser down here. So once it's empty, it gets delivered back down to the mine, gets filled back up, can circle back up through. So now you've got something that can move a single chest worth of inventory with every run. I think that's pretty good. Now, the downside to this design is, obviously, you're limited to being in... Your input speed is limited to one hopper, essentially. So this is not something that's going to go turbo. Now, if you really wanted to, you could take out the hoppers and manually load this yourself, and that's probably how I would use it, just because I would just tend to dump everything in there, and, you know, when I'm coming back, when my inventory fills up on me, just chuck it in there and let it go off to the surface on its own, and maybe if I've got some extra, then maybe I'll set up a hopper on top of it to drain it out. That's just me, though. So, the second problem is with the top of the design. Now, obviously, like I said, I've got a comparator in there, so I've got it set to a NOT gate to come out for output, so this will only fire off once the Shulker in here is empty. And the reason why I've got it doing this is because what I need to do is, first off, before anything happens to that Shulker, I have to lock the hopper that's immediately under it that's causing the draining, because if I punch it with a piston right now, it will actually drop down into the hopper underneath it first. Well, I don't want that. I want that to come over to the hopper that the comparator's on. Drop down that one, so that will take it back down. The idea behind that is it saves me from having to do an item sorter. And I know this can be done. I just haven't worked out the redstone yet, but I've kind of hit the limit on how far I can take this myself. So the idea is you've got a NOT signal on the back of that comparator, so this will only fire off once the Shulker's empty. The first thing it needs to do is come down here, lock the hopper, ensure that it stays locked, which is I've got a pulse extender here. And then the second thing that it will need to do is actually fire off the piston to kick the Shulker. And then once that's all done, then I hit the problem, because right now, if there's no shulker there, then the output of this is still on because the comparator says there's nothing there. So it also needs to fire off the dispenser here to drop the next shulker. And that's the tricky part I'm still trying to work out. Again, not much of a tutorial, but just kind of a play around with the thing. And while you're at it, here's another problem that you need to consider. If you have chests in your design, this is some of my early prototyping I was doing over here, there's a bug in this snapshot, and just to refresh what I am sitting on here for the snapshot, I am currently on, well, basically the only real 1.11 snapshot. So I'm on 16 week 39A, and there's a bug with chests in this version when it comes to having blocks on top of them. So any other setup that I've got, I can clearly fire stuff over into the chest. I can't get into it because there's a block on top of it, but you saw I was putting items in the hopper, and they do indeed show up in the chest. All's well and good and right with the world. But let's come over here, and you're going to see my shulkers aren't going anywhere. Now, obviously, I can't get in the chest to see what's going on. I'll break one block. Still there. Break the other. And now, all of a sudden, everything's flowing in. I'm pretty sure that's a bug. I'm going to actually check the bug tracker and submit that if it's not, but do keep that in mind. And then, of course, there's lots of other problems from what I've heard of furnaces in this version, so that's why I don't have anything like a smelter or anything worked into this particular setup. So anyways, guys, take that design, have fun with it. If you make anything of it, I'd love to see you guys actually pull this off, because I really would like to build this. Certainly this needs to go on Spumcraft, because it's just so blasted annoying to go diamond mining and then have to travel up 100 plus blocks and unload the inventory of stuff I want to keep. Like, you know, I need to keep cobble because I still have to need it for bricks and everything. It's not much I actually ever really throw out. And believe me, I go through it. And if you look at my inventories on Zombiecraft and X, it's the same thing. So yeah, do give me some ideas there, and hope I really see some interesting stuff coming out of this. This is really, sadly, it's about the only thing out of 1.9 or 1.11 that I'm really looking forward to. Maybe that and combat, because someone was saying that the skeletons don't seem to be strafing quite as badly now. So maybe there's been some tweaks there. Hopefully they're not quite so ridiculously overzealously powered. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Take care.